What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here to recap the Cardinals, the Broncos, Thursday night football game here. And this was an absolute beatdown by the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos absolutely destroyed the Arizona Cardinals. They came into this game with one motivation. Von Miller said, okay, they were going to beat that ass of the Cardinals. And what did they do? They came in, they whooped butt. They came in, they destroyed. They came in, and that defense performed for the first time this season in dominant fashion. And you got to hand it to the Broncos. They're now 3-4. They had a couple of rough games here, but their leader goes out, has a press conference, and he says that we need a big game and the defense needs to step up and we need to beat the Cardinals. We're a better team than the Cardinals. We expect to beat the Cardinals. And what did they do? They beat the Cardinals. And from the Cardinals' point of view, this was equally a big game. This was equally a game that they needed to win. You're talking about people that are going to be fired now because of the performance that the Arizona Cardinals just laid out. And it's straight up embarrassing from the Cardinals' point of view. They can't get one of the best running backs in the NFL going. They can't get David Johnson going. 14 carries, 39 yards against arguably the worst rushing defense in the NFL. That's straight up embarrassing. You look at the Broncos' point of view. I think it was the 32nd and the 31st worst rushing defenses going at it in this game. And the 31st rush defense looked worse than the 32nd worst rush defense. Phillip Lindsay runs 14 carries, 90 yards. I thought he'd have a big game here. He does. 1 touchdown. Looks very impressive. This guy's an undrafted rookie. He's looking like a superstar. I kind of wish he was on a better, more explosive offense. I think if he was on some of these top offenses, we would be talking about Phillip Lindsay as potential Rookie of the Year candidate. He is that impressive. He's that explosive. He's that hard to stop. And I think that he should really be the lead back for the Broncos. Every single time he touches the ball, he's just a lot more explosive, a guy that has a lot more energy in the backfield, and he can take runs long distances. He can break long runs. As for Royce Freeman, he's more of the power guy, and you really haven't seen a lot of success from Royce Freeman. It's been mostly Phillip Lindsay's season, and for some reason, they're still splitting even carries. That's one of the issues the Broncos still need to address. They need to make Phillip Lindsay their go-to guy more regularly. But for the Broncos, we need to focus on the positives. Next week, this was a tune-up game pretty much for 3 quarters. They need to come in because they play the Chiefs next week. It's a huge game. It's in Kansas City. They already dropped one to the Chiefs. They need to get back to 500 so that they have a chance to go to the playoffs. I don't see this Broncos team as a playoff team. I really just feel this game was for their season. This was for Vance Joseph's job. This was for Case Keenum's job. This was Von Miller saying, and basically being the leader of the team and saying, hey guys, you're going to get fired if you don't show up. So the Broncos do that. They show up. The Cardinals don't show up. This looked like an NFL team versus a Pee Wee football team here. Josh Rosen, 21 for 39, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He was sacked 6 times. He had a passer rating of 44.2. Case Keenum, 14 for 21, 161, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 85.6 passer rating, sacked twice. Now, Case Keenum wasn't great. Case Keenum was maybe not even good in this game. But, I mean, it was good enough to get it done because of the way the defense dominated in this game. Some of the superstars on that side, I thought Chris Harris had a really good game. He scored a touchdown. Todd Davis scored the other touchdown for the Broncos, 2 defensive touchdowns. So if you had them in fantasy, you were probably pretty happy. Shelby Harris had a pass deflection, 2 tackles for loss, a quarterback hit, 4 tackles in total. Todd Davis, I thought, was really good all around. Bradley Chubb, kind of quiet, did have 2 quarterback hits. Von Miller was all over the place. He had 2 sacks. He had a couple strip sacks. He had 4 quarterback hits, 4 tackles. Overall, this Broncos defense looked like a throwback to the 2015 version, just straight up dominating the Cardinals. The Cardinals' offensive line is a big issue. This offensive line can't block me right now. They're pretty bad. They had two of their guards were out in this game. Justin Pugh was out of this game. I'm not sure if they had any other injuries outside of that, but even with those guys in, they've shown to be a pretty lackluster offensive line. Just overall, the offensive creativity from the Cardinals is lacking. Mike McCoy is not he's not calling like anything creative. I just don't know about the Broncos right now. Or about the Cardinals right now. I don't know what's going on with this team. I think I knew they were going to be a bad team, but to lose on your home turf 45-10, that's pretty embarrassing. To the Broncos, with your rookie quarterback, the future of your franchise, you would feel you would have a little bit more to play for. You immediately lost this game right off the first snap. You came into this game, the first couple of plays, and it was straight up embarrassing. They didn't even know how to line up. Troy Aikman was saying you usually, and this is the case for most teams, you usually come into the NFL, an NFL game with about 20 plays you script right off the bat. First quarter or so, you have about the first two drives scripted out. Okay, we want to do this play, this play, this play, depending on the scenario and how it's going. But if everything's working, you have about 20 plays scripted out that you want to run in the first two drives to establish your game plan. And they come out in the first two plays. It was straight up embarrassing. It was just horrible. They couldn't even line up. They had to take a timeout on the second play of the game. That's horrible. I bet on the Broncos, so I'm happy. I had the Broncos defense in fantasy, so I'm happy. And, I picked the Broncos to win this game. I'm happy. But seriously, Cardinals, you couldn't have provided a little bit of a more interesting game, a more entertaining game here. It's just embarrassing. Wilkes, I don't know about him as a coach. I said straight up in the offseason that was my least favorite coaching signing. He doesn't bring anything relevant to the conversation in the NFL right now. If you're looking at the new NFL head coaches across the board, who are the ones that are the most successful right now? The most successful head coaches right now are the offensive-minded coaches. Okay, Wilkes comes in. He's a defensive-minded head coach. He is all about the fundamentals. He's the old-school style head coach. He's not a new school style head coach. He's not a McVay. He's not a Nagy. He's not a Shanahan. He's not all these new guys you're looking at across the NFL that have done fairly well, or at least have something that they do very well. And at least you can see that in their team. What do the Cardinals do very well? They don't run the ball very well. They don't protect their quarterback very well, that's for sure. They have David Johnson, they have Larry Fitzgerald, and they can't do anything. They have a rookie quarterback. They're not giving him any easy looks. Their defense, which is his strong suit, is not good, and they can't defend the run, which was supposedly his strength in Carolina. What does this coach do? That's my question to every franchise across the NFL when you hire a head coach. When you hire a head coach in this next season, what does this head coach do from a schematic standpoint that will give you an advantage over your opponent? Kyle Shanahan's big thing is his running game and his play action and his offensive scheme and the way that he can game plan for an opponent. Sean McVay is all the different ways that he can attack you from the offensive side of the football. And he's also a great leader, great motivator. That's just added on top of that. Look across the NFL. The great head coaches, Sean Payton, great offensive coach. They have they have things about them that are great. Andy Reid, great schemer, great game planner, great offensive coach. Very good with quarterbacks. Andy Reid's great. Bill Belichick's great. What's Bill Belichick great at? Everything. What is, Matt Nagy good at? He's good at offense. And also, you need to know to surround yourself with good coaches as well. And the ability to delegate as a leader. And I just don't see this. I just don't see this in this guy. He's a terrible head coach. And this team is bad. Like, this team is horrible. And I shouldn't feel this passionate about the Cardinals, but it's sad. It's sad to watch a player like Larry Fitzgerald, who's one of the greatest receivers of all time. He had 4 catches, 40 yards, and a touchdown in this game on 8 targets. And he's sitting there, and he's about to go in the Hall of Fame, never winning a Super Bowl. He was close once, never winning a Super Bowl, but he is the face of Arizona, and this is the way he's going to go out with this football team. And then you have David Johnson, who's one of the most physically talented NFL players in the league, and he can't do anything. I'm just frustrated with teams like the Giants and the Cardinals and all these other crappy teams that have these really talented players and don't know how to use them, and their owners and their GMs don't give them a chance. I want to see great players be great, and you're not allowing David Johnson to be great. You're not allowing Larry Fitzgerald to be great. You're not even letting your rookie. You want to surround your rookie quarterback. This is the biggest thing in the NFL right now. I'm kind of all over the place, but the biggest thing in the NFL right now is that you need a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback, and you need to win in the first few years you have that quarterback. When you have that quarterback, you need to win, because as soon as you have to pay that quarterback, you're going to suck. I have the Packers won since they paid Aaron Rodgers, have the Ravens won since they paid Joe Flacco, have the Seahawks won since they paid Russell Wilson, have the Lions won since they paid Matt Stafford, have the Falcons won since Matt Ryan got paid. The list goes on and on and on. The only team that can win with a quarterback who's paid is Tom Brady, and that's because he's the 17th or 16th highest paid quarterback in the NFL, because he takes a pay cut and because he's arguably the best in the league, and he's being paid 16th most in the league. You're rather going to have to win the Super Bowl with a young quarterback with a great supporting cast, or getting really lucky and having the perfect season, or you're going to have to find a guy that just comes out of nowhere and surprises you. Maybe an undrafted guy, a 6th round pick, maybe a veteran that really transfers well, or maybe you're going to have the team already, and you're going to have to add that guy through free agency, like the Vikings with Kirk Cousins, to a couple of years, just a loaded contract with a team that you already have established. But the Cardinals are, this reminds me of the Bears last year. The Cardinals are wasting 1 year of their young quarterback. They're wasting 1 year of Josh Rosen. And I know Josh Rosen's not going to win you a Super Bowl, but at least give him a chance. Establish a good infrastructure around your young quarterback, because that's how you need to win in the NFL today. You're not going to win with this old school defensive approach. Have you seen any defense be good this season? No. You're not going to win like that. The best defense is a good offense in today's NFL. So I just don't understand the way that this is more of an NFL rant than the Cardinals rant. You need that quarterback, and you need to surround your quarterback. It's simple, really, when you think about it, to be honest. I want to give some shout outs. Emmanuel Sanders was amazing in this game. 6 catches, 102 yards. He also threw a touchdown, scored a touchdown as well. Cortland Sutton caught that touchdown. Demaryius Thomas had a solid game. I've been hard on him this year. Defensively for the Cardinals, not a lot has to be said. Patrick Peterson is going to be on the block. It's going to be interesting to see if he gets traded. He probably should get traded. They need to get something for him. They could probably get a 2nd round pick for this guy. I think there's a lot of teams that could use Patrick Peterson, especially in a deprived NFL of good corners and good defenses. Contenders, the Saints could use them. The Patriots could use them. I don't know. Let's go down the list. Eagles could definitely use them. Panthers could use them. Vikings right now could use them. The Cowboys, maybe. I don't know. Who else? Falcons, they're done. Chiefs could use him for sure. Bengals could use him. There's a lot of teams that are in contention. Steelers could use him. There's a lot of teams in contention that I believe would pay for Patrick Peterson, so it's probably time to trade him. Any people saying out there that Larry Fitzgerald should be traded or is going to be traded, or even asking about him being traded, he's not going to be traded. He said it before. He'll say it again. He's not going to be traded. Okay? Okay, let's go to the chat. Kevin Durkant says Cardinals got owned. Very much so. Orange Crush says LOL, they all sleep. Well, I mean, the Broncos, it's not like they've really beat anyone great. So let's just calm that down a little bit. Let's see what you do next week. It's in Kansas City. Tough game. You played them well the first time around. Probably should have won that game, but you pretty much choked that game away. And the second thing is, I can't believe in Case Keenum this year. He's not been playing well. And when he doesn't play well, you got no chance to win. This isn't 2015. Your defense isn't that great. They had a bounce back performance today, but I'm not seeing the Broncos as a playoff team. I just think they are what they are. I think they're an 8-8 team that had a really big game to play today. They were very much motivated. Their leader came out. He said some things, and they came out and they got the win. So that's what I think about the Broncos. Denver 32 fantasy points. Hayden says, "Hey, it's me again, Mitch. What's up? What's going on, Hayden? Waterboy report. What's going on?" He says, "Saw this coming. Broncos played tough versus the Rams." They did. That was also at home in kind of some odd conditions. I thought they would win, like I said. I didn't think it would be like this, though. Hayden said, "I know, right?" Says Hayden to Waterboy. Ghost Skittle says he was in the Instagram chat. Yeah, guys, this is a shout out. Go follow the Instagram. I see his comments right now. This is Ghost Vaughn Namath. Oh, yeah, with the guarantee. Yeah, so I got my little Instagram video up here. I got the YouTube over here. So, guys, go follow us on Instagram. I just made it like a couple days ago. I haven't really been talking about it much because I kind of want to get it a little bit established first. But go follow us on Instagram. You guys know the name, The Bottom Line View. Go give us a follow if you have an Instagram account. We're trying to get some stuff on there. We're trying to expand our horizons out there on social media besides YouTube. So go out there and give us a follow on Instagram. Bryant says, looks like he hurt on the last play. Who are you talking about? Ghost Skittle says, Andy Reid isn't great. Andy Reid is great. If you don't think Andy Reid is the second best coach of this era, get out of here, Ghost Skittle. Zimmer is a pretty good coach. I'll give you that. But this season, his defense hasn't come through. And that's why we've seen the Vikings sort of struggle, because his defensive scheme has been ripped to shreds so far. And I think Kirk Cousins has been carrying that team. No, Fitz isn't being traded to anybody. Patriots are not. Cardinals will not win more than 4 games. RVD says, you are right. These quarterback contracts are a huge disaster for teams, but that is what we get for making the league too quarterback dependent. I honestly I know that everybody's happy about the offense this year, but I miss watching a dominant defense. I want to see some defense just beat people up. I miss that. I like watching the 2015 Broncos. I liked watching the Steelers in the mid 2000s. A big reason why I like the Patriots to start off, was their defense. That's part of the reason why I like the Patriots, because they were so good on defense. I kind of miss just defenses dominating. I know last year we saw like the Jaguars, but I love the Jaguars, from last year. We saw a little bit from the Vikings last year. Like, I just want to see a little bit more domination and a little bit more fairness, equality. It just seems like it's so far tilted to the offense that it's almost become irrelevant what you do on the defensive side of the ball. And I think a big thing is now, I know this game's sort of an exception because the defense dominated this one, but I feel like if you're going to be a good team, you need an elite offense. But also, if you're going to be a good team, besides, one of the reasons why the Ravens aren't good on the road is because their offense isn't great. I feel like if you want to be good on the road today in the NFL, you need a great offense, because your offense can dictate tempo and can dictate the game. And I feel like teams like the Saints and the Patriots and the Chiefs and the Rams and these teams can be really good on the road because they can dictate tempo. While a team like the Ravens, they rely a lot on the crowd. They rely a lot on turnovers, getting quarterbacks confused because of their defense. But when they go on the road, their offense can't dominate. And I feel like teams with the better defenses, so to speak. Look at Jacksonville this year. I mean, they haven't been great on the road. You saw the Bears lose a game against Miami in Miami because their defense isn't at home. So I feel like really having an elite offense is better than you could have anything out there right now. And a lot of that is because it's easier to win games on the road. And that's what separates the really good teams from just the good teams or the average teams to me right now. Who do you blame for an NFL being too quarterback dependent? To me, the shift started in like 03, 04 when they changed the rule for illegal contact with Peyton Manning. And then once we went from that, the league became a little bit more offensive going into 2005, 2006. And then we saw the Patriots really change the NFL with their short passing attack in 2007 and the way that they used the slot receiver with Wes Welker. And they really changed the way that offenses play. And they really, changed the way that offenses will scheme and the three receiver sets and all that sort of stuff. And Josh McDaniels, Wes Welker, Tom Brady, Randy Moss, all those guys are responsible for changing the way offenses play. A lot of screens, all that sort of stuff came into play. And then Sean Payton started taking that as well with the Saints on the opposite side in the NFC and was doing similar things to the Patriots. So those teams sort of did that. And then we kind of went through this era of a lot of short passes, a lot of bubble screens. And then we got to the point, I believe, in like 2013, where we got to the Seattle Seahawks defense that was basically made to stop bubble screens, stop short passes because of their speed and because of the cover three press bail style that they played. But now we're seeing, because of so many teams that switched to the cover three style, like half the league runs that defense. So now we're seeing that this defense is becoming obsolete. This defense is getting absolutely shredded right now. So basically what happened is offenses adapted. Offenses became what they were with the Patriots and the Saints, and teams started copying them. And then defenses adapted with the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Ravens, those teams, the Broncos. And then basically what happened is new coaches like McVay, Shanahan, McDaniels, again, changed the way offenses played more to the power style and more of the play action, deep shots, traditional passing game, back to sort of that. And then now we're basically getting to that point where offenses like the Rams are taking a lot of deep shots and they're just confusing defenses. And then you also have to throw on the other rules with the changed catch rules, the changed pass interference rules, the changed rules for hitting quarterbacks, just roughing up of players, helmet hits, all that stuff comes into play as well. But I believe a lot of it's scheme. I think in a couple of years, we're going to see defense come back a little bit more. But I think we're going through a year where the defenses just are too slow to catch up right now. And I think we're going to see defenses become smaller and faster. And that in turn is going to mean that more safeties and cornerbacks are on the field, which is then going to transfer back over to the offenses going back to power running and using play action through their power running game because teams don't know how to tackle. So I feel like it's just going to keep going through a circle of life in the NFL. And I think that's sort of what's going on right now, in my opinion, from what I've seen and read and learned, that's what pretty much it's going through right now. So, yeah. RVD said tackling in the NFL the last 15 years has been horrible. The rules have a lot to do with that. I remember John Madden, before he retired from broadcasting, said for several years that tackling in the NFL was the worst he's seen. I also think that the coaches not being able to practice as much, the training camps being lighter, the turnover on rosters, that has a lot to do with it as well. And I think back in the day, they also had a little bit more loaded rosters. There weren't 32 teams. There wasn't all this free agency. There weren't all these young players coming into the fold. There wasn't all this salary cap stuff. And teams were a little bit more loaded on the defensive side of the ball. and it was easier to keep up with the offenses because of that. And you saw mostly a defensive dominated league back then, back in the day. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Broncos-Cardinals game, guys. It wasn't much of a game, much of a contest. It was 21-3 after the first quarter. I'm happy I won my bet. I'm disappointed for the Cardinals. I think it's interesting to see where the Broncos will go from here. Will they make themselves a relevant team in the discussion to make the playoffs or not? We'll have to see next week against the Chiefs. If they're competitive again against the Chiefs but don't win, I'd say they're a team that could potentially turn it around. But, you know, if they get blown out or whatever, I think we could pretty much count them out at 3-5. If they win, then we're talking about something totally different. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this recap. Again, go hit us up on Instagram. Go subscribe or go follow on Instagram. I'll leave the link in the description, and pretty much just go on your Instagram and search the Bottom Line View if you want to do it personally. Also, you know, check out our other videos on the channel. I did a top 10 contenders for the Super Bowl yesterday, so go check that video out. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. Thanks for the support, guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.